After years of waiting, finally, it is here. So welcome to the iPhone SE 2. As exciting as the iPhone SE 2 is, the unboxing is exactly the same. You've got the paperwork that nobody reads, you've got the phone, the headphones, and the charging brick. The phone itself, and you might have heard this already, is the exact same design as the iPhone 8. Nothing has changed in terms of design. But this phone is not designed for people who have an iPhone 8 or higher. This is designed for people who are upgrading from an older phone. If you compare the original SE, which looks ancient at this point, to this new SE2, it's making budget phones look good rather than looking a little bit naff. If you look at what most people want in a phone, and forget tech reviewers for a second, most people want a phone that is A, affordable, and B, can take some good photos. And the iPhone SE2 does exactly that. You may have heard this one as well, but Apple have put their A13 Bionic chip into this phone, and that is the exact same chip which is in the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. So that means that this phone, when you buy it now in 2020, in 2025, it's still going to be getting updates. And I don't think you can say that for any budget Android phone. The SE2 brings back that forgotten relic of Touch ID, and as much as people go on about Touch ID, it does feel old, and Face ID is so much more natural, but in the current climate, in the current world, having Touch ID is a bit of a bonus. The SE2 comes in 3 colours, white, black and red, and on the back of each of those phones is glass, which means if it's got a glass back, it can wirelessly charge. And that just means now that even the budget version of Apple's iPhone can wirelessly charge, so I think we know where the future lies for Apple. As we've just mentioned, price, let's talk about how much this phone costs. So this phone starts at $399 if you're in the US, or £420 for the 64GB version in the UK. And the pricing of the phone is brilliant for people that want to upgrade from older phones or just get into Apple's ecosphere. And let's compare that to the price of the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is the flagship phone that Apple sell. That is priced at £1,149. That's just over 2.5 times more expensive than the SE2. For the price of an iPhone 11 Pro Max, you can now get a 10.2-inch iPad, the iPhone SE2, and some AirPods with a bit of change left over. The phone isn't much bigger than the original SE, and for a lot of people, it will feel familiar in size. And it's actually really nice going to a phone that you can use with one hand rather than having to stretch your thumbs all the way across the screen just to get to the top of it. The screen is a 4.7-inch Retina HD display, and that is nothing special compared to what is out there already, but it'll do. I feel like it's only fair to mention the bezels on this phone. They are not the best looking thing in the world. If Google had released a phone like this, we would be all over them. But then we have to look at who this phone is aimed for, and the people that are buying the SE2 I don't think care about the bezels. And to give Apple a bit of credit, I suppose these bezels are black, so they just blend into the screen. The camera on the SE2 is a single 12 megapixel lens, and that's not bad news because inside of the SE2, like we've mentioned, is Apple's A13. Because of that A13 chip in this phone, it means that these photos will process a lot better, and it has things like portrait mode on it. But one thing that I've noticed already is that you have to have a person in portrait mode. It's not like the iPhone 11 and 11 Pros where you can have an object. You have to have a friend inside that photo. What's impressive though, and I've not had a huge amount of time to test it out yet, is the video on this phone. It can do 4K at 60 frames a second, and what other phone can you get for £400 that can do that? So far my impressions of this phone is that it's nice to have a smaller form factor phone, and let's see whether the display bothers me, and let's see whether there's anything else that I'll miss from the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Here's a question though, do you think you can get a better Android phone for £400 than the iPhone SE2? Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, sub to the channel, leave a like as well, and until next time, see you later.